Hey everyone, this is going to be a really quick, slightly different eBay surprise that I've received in the mail today. We're going to open it up. I'm going to hope something's broken on this thing. Let's unbox it so you all can see what it is. If I could get this out of the box and hope it didn't break during shipment. Didn't appear to. It was wrapped okay. Here we go. We'll get it out on the bench. And we've got a 70s Magnavox flip clock alarm radio. Take a look at this thing. The veneer looks like it's in good condition. All the knobs are still on there. Very hard to find it with all the knobs. No cracks or dents or breaks in the corners. Take a look at the bottom. Made in Japan. Yeah, that's the 70s for you. Yeah, made in Japan on both stickers. Maybe the sticker's made in Japan. Anyway. Well, there we go. I got stuck on there. Let's put it down and see what's going on. Drop this in isolation. It may not show up on camera, but there's a strobe window here spinning. I'll bring it up closer so you can have a look. I'm guessing this may be used to calibrate the clock. I wouldn't know how if it's an AC motor, but that's a strobe. If I had an incandescent light bulb, which I don't, so it doesn't work for me either. So let's turn that down first and give the knob a turn. See what's going on. Knobs all move nicely, so I'm just going to flip this on.
Ground beef in a tomato-based sauce that you can get in a family meal, so you can serve
Just beginning. There's still 1 week remaining until we're gone. So hurry, your last chance.
As I'm listening, I'm wondering what this is, if it's in the plexiglass, in the screen, or on the back. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to take this apart and investigate. The alarm set knob seems to work okay. Time set knob also works okay. No problems there either. Switch over to AM right quick. Try that out. AM sensitivity seemed good too. Kind of disappointed that everything seems to be working. Except for, I don't think I see a light down here. There's no light and there's something on the screen. We're going to have to open this up anyway. The sleep knob was called slumber back then. And that seems to work just fine. Up to 60 minutes. So good. I'll probably take out a couple more screws than I need to get this cover off. There's no manual for this, so better a couple too many than a couple too few and end up cracking the case. So here we go. I want to stop as I remind myself to pull some of these knobs off first. The cover needs to be negotiated around that stem right there to get it off, but then it just, no problem at all. Slides right back, it's disconnected. Probably took off more screws than I needed. I want to cut the speaker. I don't want to desolder it. I don't like doing that. There's a chance to damage the speaker when you desolder it, so I just don't bother. I'm going to have to remove the clock mechanism to get a better look behind here. Here's the clock mechanism removed now, and it looks like it's a good condition. I see a neon bulb here. It's covered with a fine silt though, dust or whatever. I remove a little bit to take a look, but we'll plug that in with it removed. We'll see what we got there. But let me put this off to the side so we can focus on the issue at hand. So I bring my attention over to the glass and I rub it with my finger. Whatever it is, it seems to be coming off, so that's a good sign. Yeah, give it a little test here with the spray. Yeah, it's just nastiness. And we can see it working here. It's really effective at this window because there's a lot of room to work through the chassis. So I'm just cleaning it up to see how good that I could get it, removing all the debris, and I can see the screwdriver clearly through there. And this little port 2, I cleaned that up, but I also found that if I remove a lot of cotton from a Q-tip, there's enough room to get through and behind there to remove all of this other residual debris, cleaning out that whole area. It takes a while. I spent a lot of time to be able to clean all that glass and then cleaning in the front to make sure I'm not looking at anything. Hit it with air to remove any fibers of cotton in all directions, as you see, and I think that's all cleared up. Little cleaner cycling through this dial, clean that up nicely. This strobe paper here is very delicate. We could see that the neon light works fine, but my brother was able to hear the motor over FaceTime, and it was like, hey, it has that sound of a clock right before it died back in the day. And I also noticed that if I shut off this clock and turn it back on, it doesn't always turn back on sometimes, and that's an artifact of a dirty motor. We know that now. We didn't know back then. We just bought a new clock, and we can see that if I stop it with my finger, there is a slow recovery, if at all. So we're going to have to take apart this motor and do a quick repair on it. Before I do, I want to do a quick power off spin test for before and after comparison. I'll use a 5.5 millimeter socket to remove the cover and mount nuts from the motor. Gently pull the motor off the studs. It has one gear that connects it to the mechanism. There's a small stress relief that needs to be unscrewed directly behind the frame here, so I unscrew that. This motor should spin freely like it's on a bearing, but we could see that when I spin it, it binds. We'll begin the cleaning process now, see if we can restore it. And I have some 99.9% pure alcohol that I'm going to use for this. I'm being careful to dip only the motor portion into the alcohol, not the gearbox, this very bottom portion. Leave it in for a couple seconds and then pull it out to allow for irrigation of the particles. I give it a little spin. I'm touching the corner of the motor. It looks like I'm touching the paper. I don't want to exert anything onto the paper while it's wet for risk of damaging it. But I'm going to do this application a couple of times, dip and let it soak, let it drain, irrigate, and just apply some turning so we could start freeing this up. And I could see it starting to spin a little bit easier each time that I do that. It's never going to spin totally free until it's dry because the amount of gap between these parts is extremely small. I'll help along the drying process with some canned air, spend a little time with this. Look at this difference. I don't see any more hesitation on the power on of the motor as demonstrated here. So it looks like we're ready to put it back into the clock now. Before I reassemble, there are a couple of areas where the gear shafts meet the frame that I want to apply some synthetic lubricant to, and then a couple of other areas of interest while the motor's off. So I'll place the motor back on the mount, ensuring a proper gear mesh. Push these all the way to the end of the shafts. You have to get it straight on in order to do it, or it'll bind, as I found. Then we'll place the cover back over. And this is followed by the lock washers and the nuts. Once seated, they'll just be lightly torqued down. That's it. Here's a side-by-side spin comparison. There's a little residual squeak, but I'll let it run for a while and then blow it out. It should be fine. Tie down a stress relief, and then I'll just flip through the mechanical stuff. We should be ready to put this right back in. Getting everything in position, I'm putting in the screws loosely. I'm going to have to take the screws out on this side to put the cardboard back in. I know that, but that's fine. Here's that cardboard shield that needs to be reintroduced. Screws will only be gently snugged because this is plastic. They're not torqued down by any means. With the bulb clean, as I turn it on, I can see the neon bulb. But now I'll turn out the lights in the room. I could definitely see that 70s neon glow. Going to knock out all the knobs right quick. They're going to be cleaned. And then all of these little recesses need to be polished. I'm using a polishing paste to get in there, clean all the crevices. Same procedure for all of them. And then after they're polished, they're all going to be washed. I'll hit these with air to get all the water out of them. Then I'm going to put them off to the side, let them dry whatever's left, and I'll come back to them when it's time to put these back on the unit. Give the outer case a good cleaning too. Hit it with some spray, and then it's just simple wiping with a paper towel to get all the dirt and debris off. It's kind of nasty. Let these top parts soak. There was like a stick around this area. Now I'll place the lower knobs back on now. All those screws that I took out earlier that I wasn't supposed to, I'm going to have to put them back in now while I can identify their place from within the cabinet. I soldered and shrink wrapped the 2 leads for the speaker, and then I bundled them together with a piece of tape. Quick test shows the speaker's working good. Gently negotiate the cover back on and over and around that spline to full seat. And now we'll screw it down. All these knobs will now be washed, and then they'll all be dried. I'm applying a wax to the outside. When it's on, I'll then wipe it off to a shine. After letting the wax sit for several minutes on the veneer as well as the plastic, I now remove it with a clean paper towel. Then I'll clean the front glass display one last time. Now I'll drop in the snooze knob, test it out. Works good. The alarm set knob is placed in. And finally the time set knob. Testing the accuracy portion of the flip clock, and I realize that this is futile. It doesn't represent the accuracy of the clock. I want to do it anyway. So you can see I'm using the stopwatch on the iPad. And I'm capturing 30:30 for the first minute. And it has more to do with how much it's worn away on the actual numbers than anything else. Because on the next minute, we can see that it's 1:29:23. And the third one, yeah, they're all within a second. The best way to really do it is set the time and check it against the clock a day later to see what's going on. But I wanted to try this out. But that's it. That was my short restoration of a flip clock radio and what turned out to be a motor repair for a flip clock. Just a little thing that I wanted to do to put this up in the kitchen. Thought it was pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click that like button down below. Helps me out a lot when you do. Hit that subscribe button for more videos. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Would you like to reply?